Hey everyone, so we've got another video on the Polo today. So today we're going to be doing the map sensor, so let's have a look at what we're doing. Okay, yeah, so we're going to do the map sensor on the Polo. And this is what our little map sensor looks like. It's a nice little weird looking thing. It does have bolt holes on it, but you don't use that on the Polo. Bit odd, but I'm guessing it's just universal design. Now this is a genuine Bosch part, and that is the part number there just above the barcode. So this was sent out by the APD, so a huge thank you to them for getting this out to me. It's been a bit of a nightmare. The other day the code came on and I had a quick look with the reader and it was just showing up mostly just the map sensor. There were a few other bits that popped up, but I think they're related to this one going wrong on mine. I had a quick look at the sensor and it's very dirty, very corroded on the inside. The pin on the inside looks terrible. Another thing I noticed was the plug that goes onto it is a little bit broken. The tooth that latches on, and I'll show you that when we go down there, is also broken, so I'm going to have to replace the plug at some point. I have got a new one. I won't be doing it today. I have unfortunately had to bodge it to keep it in properly at the moment. I have got a bit of tape around it. I'll probably be doing that again, and I'm hoping in the next day or two I can redo the plug once I've got access to the soldering iron, and I'll show you a little bit of that once it's done as well at the end of the video. But for now we just need to change this map sensor to make sure that that is the issue, because I want to get the new one in there and make sure it just settles all those codes down. So yeah, let's get on and see how we change the map sensor in the Polo. Okay, so when looking at the engine, so here's the engine, here's our oil dipstick, and the map sensor on this one doesn't have a map, but it does have a map. The map sensor is a little bit that I've had to wrap the electrical tape around, so it's right sort of tucked down in here. My finger's on it there. It is just a little plug that goes into the side of the inlet, and it has a little plug that comes into the, well, the little sensor goes in here and the plug that goes on top. It's fairly easy to get access to. It's a bit difficult to record. I'll try and see if I can crop this down to sort of show a bit more zoomed in, and I'll take the tape off in a moment and try and get a better image to show a little bit more what it looks like when it's on the engine. Another thing to note as well is we have disconnected the negative from the battery and just tucked it in behind. Reason for doing that is, one, safety. I don't want to sort of mess with any electrical parts with the battery still connected, and two, it also helps remove any sort of temporary data that's on the engine. You know, so when I plug it back in again, everything's sort of reset. So that all those sort of learned figures or temporary codes get reset and they might not come back on again. So let's crack on. Okay, so I've come in a little bit closer and you can see the map sensor here. So this is our little map sensor here. I'll show that. Look, how close can I get? There we go. So it's the one that's just underneath that pipe. So you come underneath this pipe, and this is the sensor here. Now the plug on mine does just unplug itself. Like I said, the tooth that latches onto this tooth on the back of it here is gone on the plug. So this doesn't stay plugged in on mine, which is why I had the electrical tape on it. It does just slide on like so, but it can also just pull off. So not doing a whole lot, unfortunately, so I will have to replace that. But for now we just want to replace this actual physical unit and get a new map sensor in there. Now it's fairly easy to take out. There is a little tab on the back of the mounting plate here. So you see the main sort of, you've got the two sort of winglets that come off the sides, top and bottom. And then there's a little tab at the back that you push in, and then this slides out. I generally find like a screwdriver or something is the easiest way. You can get like a thumb in there and kind of do this, but it's a bit awkward because you want to sort of pull on the eyelets really, sort of wiggle it out. So yeah, let's crack on and get it out. Okay, so I'm just actually going to try it again. I'm just going to hold it from behind. You'll see where the sort of the top part comes out. I'm going to hold it behind there, push the thumb down on that tab and just try and sort of wiggle it out. Hopefully it'll come out. If not, I've got the backup screwdriver to sort of press the back of it there and try and get it out that way. But I want to try this way just quickly, just to see if we can. It's a bit difficult to record, I do apologise. Oh, there we go. Oh, that was easy. There's our old map sensor. Okay, so that's the old one out. That was surprisingly easy actually. So when it's on the engine, it's kind of mounted like this. So you've got the front plate there with the chip and whatnot in it, and the sensor goes in sideways and it's sort of slightly angled up. There's a little tab here on the bottom of the mounting plate, and that can push down. So all I did was I held in behind this top bit here, like so, and I pushed that tab down and just sort of wriggled it, and it popped on out. There's no bolts that hold this in, there's nothing else that holds it or secures it. It is literally just that little tab at the bottom there, and the new one in theory should just push in. Okay, so like I said, it sort of fit at sort of this sort of an angle sideways into that inlet manifold bit there. I'm hoping this one just clicks in. The part number is slightly different now. I believe that old one was discontinued and this is the one that superseded it. They do look very similar physically, if not identical. The only difference I can see is with the new one, the chip is slightly smaller. It doesn't take up this angle here. This one has like a little elbow on the side here. This one has the physical shape of that on the casing, but not on the actual chipset. So I'd imagine they've probably updated something inside that can facilitate a smaller chip, because it is a bit shorter, doesn't have that elbow on it, but the actual physical housing looks the same. So I would imagine that's why they updated it. Maybe there's some better firmware in these or some hardware that allows it to be smaller, but they can just put it back in the same casing again. The actual stem looks the same. When you compare the stems, you can see just how much cleaner the new one is and how really bad the old one is. So let's get this plugged back in. So this will probably be not as easy as taking it out, maybe, I don't know. Gotta get it lined up. And that is heat plugged in by the looks of it. Yep, that is heat plugged in. So let's see if I can get a slightly better angle for that for you. Okay, so there's the map sensor now. And as you can see, it's got these little sort of legs, and these are what hold it in place. So there's a little leg on top here, there's one on the other side, and there's sort of a plate down the bottom with that tab on the back. And that's what sort of holds it in place for it, and sort of guides it in. The new one just slotted back in, pushed in, and that tab gripped it on the back, and that's it. So I'm gonna have to plug it back in now with the old Duff plug, which is this one. So I'll plug it back in with that, and it will plug in, it does connect, etc. I've checked the terminals and it does have connection. Unfortunately, it's just very loose on there. So to stop it coming off whilst driving, I will probably put some electrical tape around it for now, and that will just sort of keep it on the road without sort of disconnecting, etc., and obviously throwing up more codes. So I'll get some of that on there. I'll take it for a test drive, see how it feels, and then I might go just skip ahead to when we've done the plug as well and just show you the plug and then feedback what we've sort of found having changed it. Has it fixed the issue? Has it got rid of the code? Is there something else underlying? Hopefully not, but yes, let's have a look and see what we've got. So yeah, that's pretty simple, to be honest. Took a matter of minutes to do. You just grabbed it on the back, pushed thumb, pulled it out, pushed the new one in, done. If you've got to undo that plug, it is just a simple tooth plug. So you just push in and pull up and it will disconnect. So again, really, really easy job. Huge thank you to APD for sending out that sensor. It's really good to have genuine Bosch bits like that. They've also started supplying Vika, which is sort of a genuine OE replacement, sort of almost on the same factory, I think. So, you know, I'm looking forward to getting some more bits from them for that as well. I have just done the suspension, etc., which either might come up before or after this video. I'm not sure. Probably the suspension might come out after this one because this will be easier to edit, but I have already done it. But yeah, really, really good, really easy install. Thank you, APD, and see you on the next one. Okay, so just one quick bit to add. I've just done a quick start test on the car to make sure it does still start, etc. Always important after fitting sensors like this, and always keep the old one just in case it doesn't. Even if it is faulty, if it still allows the car to start, keep it because you might need to put it back in again. But I put the new one in. One thing I've immediately noticed, almost immediately, the light is still on. However, I think that's just lingering. I haven't got my code reader on me to remove it. It might remove itself once it's learnt that it's fine again. One thing I've immediately noticed is idle is smoother, far smoother, and it's quieter, quite a bit quieter. It doesn't sound like everything's working against itself. Like before, it's a little bit tappy, a little bit noisy. It just sounded a bit rough, you know, just not what it should be doing. And it sounds a lot smoother. I don't know if you've ever heard it running before in a video, and you can compare it. But that to me sounds like how an engine like this sort of size and capacity should sound. So that's a really good reassuring sign. I like that. It's a promising start. So yeah, I'm gonna take a few test drives. I'll get that plug done and I'll see you back at the end of the video.